We are in. Guys, welcome back. It's day 3 of 100 of me uploading long form content to YouTube and to your podcast platform, wherever you listen to it. Day 1, we spoke about getting out of our own way. Yesterday, day 2, we talked about embracing sucking. And today, as promised, originally promised on day 1, we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions because it is January the 4th, 2024. And I would be dumb not to cover this topic because at this point, everybody is either setting them, has set them, started them. Hopefully no one's failed them at this point. I don't think it's possible to actually have failed something on the 3 days in, 4 days in. But before we do, I just want to touch on that subject we talked about yesterday, embracing sucking, because once again, yesterday was another learning curve. I was absolutely convinced that I was about 7 minutes in. I was using my computer and there was like a timer on this app I'm using. Well, I thought it was a timer. Turns out it wasn't. I thought it was counting in seconds. I don't know what it was counting. I was absolutely convinced I was 7 minutes in. I was 17 minutes in. So if you watch the whole thing, love, but I promise from here on out, the content is going to be sharper. It's going to be shorter. We're trying new angles. Again, I'm all about constant evolution, all about trying to adapt and improve and just keep going through the uncomfortable, through the pain, because trust me, it may come across that I'm naturally good at this. Maybe you think I'm crap. Every second that I film is a challenge, but you just got to push through that pain and keep going. And that, I think, is the overarching lesson and message of the 100 days. But let's talk New Year's resolutions because it's kind of scary. In fact, 91% of people fail their New Year's resolutions. And it's normally because of 3 reasons, or 1, 2, or maybe all 3 of these reasons. Number 1 is that people go into it with the wrong mindset. So they're setting themselves up to fail before they've even started. Number 2 is they don't actually have like a plan or a system in place of how they're going to hit their goals. They might have the best goal in the world and they're really excited about it, but they don't actually know how they're going to get from A to B. And number 3 is that they don't have any kind of support or accountability system in place, which we all know is very beneficial when it comes to goals. So let's kind of touch on those, because if those are the 3 reasons why people fail with them, the vast majority, if we can find solutions to those, then by probability, and I'm a big believer in probability now, then more people are going to succeed, okay? And I think that's probably a good place to start, is probability. I think going into it with the mindset that you want to make your goals realistic and achievable. Now, I know there's a lot of hate and shade thrown at the word realistic nowadays, and I'm a big believer in setting very ambitious goals, but you also have to go in with a belief system that you're able to do it. It should scare you, but not to the point where it puts you off, where you try it for a couple of days and then there's always that little voice in your head that makes you eventually give up. So if you're going from absolute zero, let's say it's fitness, right? You've never been to the gym in your life. You can't spell dumbbell. You think a deadlift is a bicep exercise. And I don't know, you think protein's bad for you. Something like that. It's not going to be realistic for you to become a professional bodybuilder in 1 year. It'd be nice, but it's not realistic. Now, you could have aspirations maybe 5 or 10 years down the line to do that, and that's great. But I do think it's very important that we don't set ourselves up to fail. And if you're going into stuff, New Year's resolutions, with the mindset that you can achieve absolutely anything, and more importantly, absolutely anything, you're gonna fail. So the first thing I always encourage people to do when they're setting a New Year's resolution is actually to reverse engineer it. Think of one thing that you want to have achieved by the end of the year. And then all of your actions, your behaviors, your habits, your mindset should be working backwards from that. Okay? So this could be, most goals sit under one of 3 categories when you really break it down. It's wealth, health, and relationships, okay? So it could be that you want to meet the love of your life. You want to earn a certain amount of money. You want to achieve a certain fitness goal. I don't know, run a certain marathon time, lift a certain weight, look a certain way, whatever it may be. Set one North Star and work back from that. And then what I mean by that is actually think about, okay, that's my North Star. Now I'm going to break it down into quarters. So in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, what am I going to do that's going to help me get there? And then break it down into months. So, okay, and now in month 1 to 12, what am I going to do each of those months? And if you really wanted to, and I'm not saying you need to go to this level of detail, you could break it down into weeks or even days. Now, the reality is your daily habits and actions and behaviors are going to, kind of cascade up to you hitting that goal. So that's the next thing. And that kind of solves that second problem, right? Having that plan, having that system in place. The other thing that massively helps with this is either hiring a coach or having a mentor or looking at people who have done what you want to do. Because the chances are, particularly if they're vocal about having done what they do, right? Again, let's take fitness as an example. If you look at a YouTuber who has gone from, I don't know, super skinny guy or super fat guy, and now he's like, or she is super in shape, the chances are they didn't just go from A to B and it was easy and, you know, everything went well and there was no downside to it. They would have had ups and downs. They would have had to, you know, learn a lot of hard lessons. It would have taken a lot longer than you think it might. And you can kind of find 5 people who have done what you're trying to achieve and benchmark yourself against them. So, and most of these guys and girls are very open about their journey nowadays. I think there's a real movement, which I love, towards authenticity online now. I think that sort of old adage of influencers, or especially the successful ones, kind of bullshitting what their life's really like has kind of gone. People see through that thin veil now. So I think you can easily find 5 to 10 people who you can model yourself after. And look what they do. So if you don't necessarily have the money right now to hire a coach, whether that's in the fitness space, relationship space, there's relationship coaches or mentors in business or whatever it might be, then just look at their content. I guarantee you these guys and girls are putting this content out for free. So go and absorb that and actually use that to help you build your plan and your system, because you need a system to go with the plan, okay? So that's that one. The support and accountability, the big one I tell people here is you don't necessarily need someone like a friend or a family member who is doing what you're doing. But if you tell people who are close to you publicly what you're trying to achieve, it holds you accountable, because people hate to fail in the eyes of others. So if you're quietly just kind of like, you know, people sort of like grind in silence. I don't buy into that. I would say grind in public. If you're trying to get like in shape, for example, tell people on your social media, tell your friends and your family. And then if they're your good friends and your family and they catch you slipping, catch you breaking your habits or not sticking to what you said you're going to do, they're going to call you out. If you don't tell anybody about your goals, A, it probably tells me that you don't really believe that you're able to hit them, or that you don't really care about them. And B, it's just going to make it so much harder for you to hit them. Your good friends, your good colleagues, family members, whatever it may be, the people who are close to you are going to hold you to account. Okay? So that's a good one around the accountability. Again, like if you're able to buy your way into accountability groups, whether that's, you know, through a coach, or there's so many platforms on now. Like you've got like, I'm not an expert on this, but like Discord and School, and even like old Facebook groups are still knocking around and stuff like that. There's always a tribe of people that you can join and throw yourself into, and they're all on that same path. And again, like these people will always be welcoming of you because they're trying to achieve the same thing as you. So that's a huge one there, is don't rely on self-accountability. Tell people what you're going to do. A good friend of mine did this with me. He actually sent me a screenshot of what he's trying to do. And that reinforces it in his brain. He's like, right, now I'm committed to this. But it also means that I, as a good friend, can help hold him accountable. And this isn't like bullying or being mean about it or being like, oh, you're still a fat piece of shit, or why are you doing that? You suck, you failed. It's like, come on, mate, you said you were going to do this, get back on track if you've fallen off, right? So those are the main things. I think, what was the other one? The mindset thing. The mindset one as well. I think I kind of touched on it, but I really want to just kind of finish with this, is when you're writing out your goals, make them big and scary, make them achievable. But once you've written them out, if you can't look at them and genuinely think, I can do that, it scares me, but I can do it. If you don't have that self-belief, I think you're kind of doomed to fail. So you have to be able to look at your goals and think, I can achieve that. It's gonna suck, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna take me the full year, but I'm pretty sure if I do X, Y, and Z, I think I'm gonna get closer to it. If you've got that sort of self-belief, and it doesn't need to be complete narcissistic, egotistic, arrogance that you're definitely going to do it. But if you don't even believe in it, then I think you're kind of doomed to fail before you go into it. And that's the piece around the mindset. So guys, believe in yourself. That takes away the weak mindset that we're trying to avoid. Tell other people that you are trying to achieve, what goals you're trying to achieve, and how you're going to do it. Join accountability groups if you can, or pay for a coach. And what was the second one? I've forgotten now. Plan and system. Start with a North Star, work backwards. Think about daily habits and actions that cascade up into weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly, and one thing at the end of the year that you'll be able to look back on and say, that was the goal I set, I've achieved it. And guess what? If your goal is nice and big, your big North Star, other wins and goals are going to come up as you go through the year. Guys, I've absolutely smashed the life out of this. We are 11 and a half minutes in. I'll love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.